Hi there, it's Dr. John Cummins, and this week I'd like to touch base around memory. One of the questions I frequently get asked is my memory normal? And it occurred to me that the reason why this can be a really understandable question is that most people haven't been the age they've been before. So for example, if I'm 50, I've got a memory of a 50-year-old. How is that different from a memory of a 40-year-old? And is that normal to me? So generally speaking, the way we would answer that is by asking more questions about people's memory. And so one of the things that I was taught by Nicola Gates, a neuropsychologist, was that when we start to forget events and conversations, that's perhaps a bit more of a concern than, say, forgetting nouns and names and things like that. And what I find is that with each passing decade, our memory slips a little bit, but generally the context of nouns and names like movie stars, certain words, etc., etc. Some people will say, well, like I'll walk into a room and I'll forget while I'm there. But in my experience, is often more an attentional deficit, an attentional problem. So what's happened is that you've made a decision to go into a room to perform a certain task. And on the way there, your attention is completely gone and you've thought of a million other things that's important in your life before you get to that room. So that by the time you get there, you've had about 1,001 different thoughts going in from the original intention to go there. So that typically is not a memory problem, it's more an attentional problem. So what do we know about memory? Well, it does decline a little bit with age. And just to give you a heads up, we will be soon launching a cognitive assessment program where we will be able to assess 5 domains of your thinking, really to diagnose problems early, but more so just to reassure us that we're actually normal. And these results will be calibrated for your peer group in terms of age, gender and educational attainment. So how do you protect your brain? Several proven strategies. First of all, do a lot of exercise, both aerobic, which is a bare minimum 150 minutes of brisk, say, walking with a moderate heart rate, or 75 minutes a week of a high heart rate, and probably some strength training, and particularly those exercises that involve complex motor movements where you've got to learn new things. Secondly is get enough sleep, because we know that sleep washes out the amyloid protein, which is the precursor to Alzheimer's disease and amyloid plaque. But sleep is increasingly recognised as incredibly important. Third thing would be minimise stress, because stress smashes neurons, and we've seen this in rodent studies where you stress an animal, euthanize them, and look at the synaptical connections. Generally, one neuron will talk to about 10,000, like a crazy bird's nest, but they get completely stripped of their synapses. The fourth one would be reduce alcohol, because alcohol is basically toxic to neurons as well. Fifth one would be increasing as we age, make sure that we're socialised. Get involved with our peer groups, our friends, our community, rich conversations. And these things continue to stimulate our neurons to fire together. And the last one, and there may be others, the second last one would be a diet. Diet is incredibly important. In terms of your micronutrients, so eat 3 leafy cups of green leafy vegetables or salads a day. Eat 3 cupfuls of brightly coloured fruits and or vegetables or salads. Eat leeks, eat cruciferous vegetables high in sulphur. These are all integral towards the biochemical vitamin pathways that are really important for mitochondria and nerve fibre health. And the other one that came to mind was avoid doing those sports activities where you're at a high risk of concussion. And I read somewhere quite some time ago that 2 concussions in your lifetime doubles your risk of Alzheimer's risk throughout your life. So there are similar things you can do for your heart that keep your brain healthy, and some of them more specific. But those would be the key things to preserving your memory. And it's thought that if you do these things, you can drop your personal risk of a neurodegenerative illness such as Alzheimer's and or other forms of dementia, maybe by an order of 40-50%. So in summary, it's exercising, getting your heart rate up, sufficient sleep, 7 to 8 hours sleep, micronutrients in a very plant-based, varied diet, minimising stress, minimising alcohol, keeping socialised, and just don't get your head traumatised. And I hope that's useful to you, and we'll do a few segments now on brain functioning, and look forward to seeing you soon.